Well, Grant, we're on the bubble.
Exciting times. We had a rash of eliminations in the last episode, culminating with Kerry busting Joseph in a classic race, ace-jack against 2 sevens.
You see it all the time.
And now we're just down to 4. 3 get paid, 1K for third, 2K for second, 5K for first. It's really worth fighting for that first place.
Absolutely. At the same point, you have to keep ICM, what would we call them? ICM considerations in your mind because it really sucks to bubble. It's $1,000 to bubble here. That does matter.
It does matter. And by the way, Taylor managed to not bubble just now. He
Yep.
just shoved over Jake's very light open.
Well, this is what I think Jake is super aware of this bubble. And as the guy with all the chips, he's supposed to be throwing his weight around at exactly at this point.
Right. Kerry did pick up a few chips against Joseph just before we started this episode, but Jake still has the overwhelming chip lead. I imagine he will try to bully the table.
Yeah, that would seem to be like what we'd have to see. Taylor's going to open with 2 6s here almost certainly, right?
No. He's looking around.
I mean,
thought
they're
he'd already-
four-handed here.
He has a slightly awkward stack, but they are four-handed.
I mean, he can shove it if he wants. Maybe he feels like he's got too many chips to shove and doesn't want to get shoved on.
He's taking a look at Dan's stack there, and he folds.
Wow.
And he's a genius. Look at this.
Incredible. And Dan moves in. He would have been forced to call that all in by Dan for sure. Jake with ace-4 makes the call. Dan shoved with 9 blinds. It's a reasonable call for Jake, although slightly, it's close, but it's reasonable.
He gets to burst the bubble if he wins this hand.
That's true. At the same point, Digital Dan has to like his spot, even though Jake has already run down other people. Oh,
Well,
It's
I
over.
think Digital Dan's...
Well, a diamond would do
yeah,
it, actually.
Oh, yeah, a diamond. That's right. That would have been a dirty diamond right there. 4 of diamonds wins it. But nope, Dan gets to double up. And Taylor's fold there is definitely ICM related, and it's very interesting.
yes, for sure. It's very, very interesting. He had, what do you have, like 19 blinds? He could have opened, also. Like, Digital Dan and Kerry are
can't-
probably not going to shove.
Well, Digital Dan is. He has 7.3K.
Oh, no, they're not going to shove light.
Oh,
is what I'm
light.
saying. Dan
Yeah.
doesn't shove light almost ever in these spots that we're aware of, right? He's pretty tight. Kerry's going to shove with the correct range, but on this bubble, everyone's going to play a little bit tighter, and people are going to respect that opening raise, even under the gun, even though it's only four-handed.
I think Taylor was concerned that Dan might shove a little lighter in this spot because he actually really has to double up, even though it's the bubble, because of the chip positions we're in here.
Like Dan may see like Queen Jack and go with it.
And Taylor doesn't want to put himself at risk with a hand that doesn't play super well against Dan's shoving range to essentially flip chip positions with Dan in that spot. And he thinks it's going to happen frequently enough that he can't open, I guess.
I guess I'm surprised. I'll say that. I think most players would open that. But as you said, he's a genius. Maybe is it possible he took a little look-see at Dan and picked up something?
That is possible. He was
Love to be
mostly
able
looking
to,
at Dan's stack, though.
Yeah, I agree. Love to be able to get him in the chat box.
We'll get one of those eventually.
Sounds great.
All right. Kerry's his stack is sizable here with 30K.
It's true. Jake is really not overwhelming. He's 30. I mean, he's got a third more than Kerry has, but still. Jake thinking about it every time now. Jake thinks before he acts. I kind of like it.
Yeah,
Gotta
he
tell you.
wants to make sure, is this a perfect spot for me to bully this guy or not?
Yeah. Here's Digital Dan with a hand that you really can't fold, although he is short-ish.
You could just call.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he just moved
He
in.
moves in. That's not crazy
We
at all.
might burst the bubble right here if Kerry
Yeah.
finds a call.
Kerry's got to sort of weigh this. This is sort of what Taylor was trying to avoid, basically, right? A pretty good hand, but against Digital Dan's shoving range, you may not be doing super great.
And he would essentially flip chip positions with Digital Dan and be at massive risk on the bubble if he were to call and lose here.
I got to believe if Kerry had ace-queen, he'd call right away. Probably ace-jack he would call.
Ace-jack suited at least.
But ace-10, he decides to let it go. That may be the very top of his folding range, that hand.
It was about a 20 blind shove.
Taylor now the shorty with 16 blinds. This is fun. I like bubble play, man.
It's scary.
Yep. And you see how it affects everything, right? Kerry decides to let it go rather than put himself where he's going to be the short stack. He would have been, like 12 blinds if he called and lost. Of course, as it
He
turns
was
out
probably going to call and win.
he was in a dominating position.
Everybody
there.
would have been happy and given him a high five and cheered as Digital Dan sulked to his car.
That's probably exactly how that would have gone. This would have been optimistic. Taylor moves in now as he's the short stack.
Yep. Queen 10 good enough on the button as the short stack for Taylor.
And you see how quickly he gets it right through Kerry there. It's just, then this is part of what the threat of the bubble can be is Taylor certainly can get knocked out by Carey there, but Carey just doesn't want to call with anything that isn't an easy call, I think.
Right.
Because it hurts him so much to call and lose.
I mean, it was about a 16 blind shove, too,
Yeah.
so this is a sizable shove there, and definitely hurts Carey a lot. Ace-5 is ahead of Taylor's range, but is it enough ahead for this situation?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. And Carey's got a reasonable chip stack. Carey should be able to manage his stack into the money.
And look at this. Taylor found, like, this. He's basically chosen that if he gets over this amount of blinds, he's going to open normal. And look how lucky Taylor is.
Yeah.
If he had ace-9 last hand and Digital Dan had ace-king, he would have shipped the ace-9 on the button based on his stack size.
For sure.
Now
Digital
he's going to get to fold, I think.
Digital Dan moves in. I don't see how Taylor's ever going to call Digital Dan shove when he has ace-9 specifically. Yeah, it's an easy fold for Taylor.
Dancing between the raindrops.
Yep. There you see the chip stacks. Jake just managing his stack very nicely here as the chip leader. We haven't seen him really push anyone around too much. He opened that first time. Taylor moved in, and we haven't seen Jake play another hand yet. He hasn't had anything to play with, in fairness. But he shouldn't need anything compared to everyone else to play with either.
Well, the issue for him now is that Taylor's directly on his left with the shove stack.
That's
and Taylor's
true.
going to shove a lot here.
Yep. That's correct. Shove stack and the short stack.
Yep.
Put those things together even more so. That said, Jake can just move in here if he decides to.
And
And there he does, yeah. He's got a king. It blocks some things. He's never getting called by a worse hand, but
But he gets called by ace-jack, he can still win, you know?
exactly. He's got reasonable equity a lot of the time when he's called. And he's not going to get called very often in this exact situation. Yep, I like the move in there.
Taylor is far more apt to be the guy putting the chips in his null and then calling them off.
Yep. I mean, I think that's probably true for all these guys.
Yep.
And that's, that's something you can really take advantage of, right? You could just be the guy putting the chips in and making them have to find a real hand to play. This is a playable hand, but Carey decides not to get involved with the shove stack and the big stack behind him and all that stuff.
It's a bit of an awkward spot. And Jake feels the same way with the 9-6 suited. And Taylor with the other 9-6 suited moves in again, and I imagine this gets through.
Yep. So Taylor, now when he had the ace-9 and this stack size last time, he did open. Let's see if he decides to continue that. If he's going to go, he's got 16 blinds now. If he goes back to shoving with 16 blinds, so that way people can't move over him.
I don't know. He actually had 14.4K when he opened the
Oh,
ace
did he?
Yeah.
Okay. But
was-
still, 16 blinds, pretty big stack to just open shove.
He did that with the queen 10.
Was it 16?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Well, okay. Then I guess I'd expect him to keep doing that. Jake, gonna have to play this one.
And probably consider calling off if Taylor moves in. Although it's not.
I don't think he's gonna
It's not
call
a great
off.
spot.
I wouldn't expect him to call off.
Looks like
Taylor does move
We're gonna
in.
find out, I guess.
Yeah, we are.
And it's more interesting because we don't know what Taylor has.
Look at Jake's.
Now we can
That's
really
not-
feel Jake's pain because we don't know what Taylor has. We can feel the moment, you know?
I think Jake needs a slightly better hand to call off here. If he knew Taylor had folded 2 6s before, I think he'd throw this hand away pretty quickly.
But he also, if he knew that Taylor open shoved queen 10 for 16 blinds, he might not.
That's different than moving in over someone, though,
Yeah.
isn't it? He did move over Jake's open before with king queen, but king queen ain't a great spot for a7. You're 55%. That's okay. You can live with that as Jake. You could take that. If he turned his hand over, you would call, but there's a lot of hands that have you in jail.
I guess we'll
And-
never know.
Yeah. The problem is Taylor can absolutely be moving in there with any ace, not just aces that are strong.
Right.
And so it's close.
And a decent amount of kings.
Yeah. I think ace 10 is a pretty easy call for Jake there.
Another just awkward hand for Taylor.
Well, he's at 16K again, and he goes back to the open. So he's just going based on stack size. That makes a lot of sense. See if Digital Dan moves in yet again. He does not. Jake's got a defending type
Yeah, I
hand
think
here.
this is going to be a defense. I'd be surprised to see anything other than a call.
Yep. All right. Let's see how high variance Taylor wants to play this if he bricks out.
Well, hopefully for him, not too high variance.
He does check it right back.
Well,
and what a turn card.
That's the ultimate turn card there.
Yep, he
the
picks up
spade.
the flush draw too. He just checks it back again, it looks like, and picks up yet
Oh,
another
he's
one.
going to get paid now.
It's going to be hard for Jake. Wow, Jake really checking again. Interesting. Taylor has to bet, and I just agree with you. Jake's just going to find a call here
He
for
has
sure,
to.
right?
I think his hand plays better as a bluff catcher than a value hand, by
Sure.
the way. So I like the check on the
Look,
river.
Jake not thrilled. He knows he's in trouble, but he has to make that call. If he folds there, he's just going to just going to fold way too much.
Taylor just
That's
trying
one
to.
of the best hands Jake's going to show up with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He might have moved Taylor in with most of his aces.
Yep. Even if not, he might have bet the ace on the river when it tripped up anyway, rather than check yet again with an ace.
It's a nice feeling as Taylor on the river there when you're value betting and you're like 100% sure you're good the way the hand played out.
Yeah. Like you'd be really so. I mean, you're still folding if you get check raised,
Yeah,
but you're not.
you're not
gonna get check raised.
You're not
almost
really
ever.
planning for that too
Nah.
much.
No, you feel pretty good about things. Kerry gets rid of it pretty quickly. Jake, I would expect, is going to open this. And I would
He
expect
could.
him to play it for a race.
He could limp it.
He could, but I think he is going to limp it. Well, he might just keep trying to
Well, it
push
would
Taylor around a little
have
bit.
worked
Yep.
against the 8-3 off.
What are you doing, Jake? The guy's got 8-3. Jake with the only flush draw, the only spade.
You mean the backdoor flush draw?
Yeah, sure.
And
And now
now
he's got
he's
a straight draw.
It's a monster hand.
It's a combo draw. Jake's just going to take it down right here.
Yeah. Do you think Jake would be happier if Randy was still there, the Terminator was still there, because then Scarf Corner would be complete, even if he were further from the win?
I mean,
Just to have that bonding. He feels so
I don't know,
alone.
man.
He's out in the wilderness.
I don't know,
it's
man.
raining on Scarf Corner.
in the land of, brimmed hats, the one-eyed scarf is king. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, I get what you're trying to do.
Do you? Carries with aces here.
That's a good spot.
He's going to raise it up. It looks like normal raise. It makes sense. 2K, 2.5x. Let's see if anyone has anything to play with. This
Jake?
could be big if. Oh my!
my-
How does he do it?
That's insane. What is he doing?
Wow.
How does he know?
He's been right. Both times he's folded small pairs in spots where almost no one would.
Well, I suppose he's getting basically just the right implied odds to call, and he doesn't think that's
He
good
would
enough.
be moving in. He wouldn't be calling. He's got like 20 blinds.
Yeah.
Just an easy move in. How does he avoid it? Oh, look, Digital Dan flops middle pair. Let's see.
Carry checks.
oh,
He's
Carry
got
checks
the
back.
board-
Yeah,
he's got the board crush.
Top set there.
I think he's trying just to get one street.
Digital Dan checks. Carry's going to bet. Can he possibly get called by Digital Dan?
I think he can get called once. Kerry could have all the Broadway.
Yep. He could have picked up diamonds also. But he also could have hit that 10 or have an ace.
These are all true, but I don't think he can fold yet if you're Dan.
The digital one, going through all the different choices in his head, he clicks the call button. It's totally reasonable. Better not hit a 7 or a 6. All right.
Well, it should be
Guess
easy
the-
to get away now.
Yeah, when Carey, who is of course going to bet again, although no longer the nuts, Carey, but
I know. It's like the fourth nuts.
still feels pretty good. The fourth nuts.
What's the third nuts?
It's definitely the third nuts. Yes. Digital Dan thinking about it. Digital Dan really does not like to fold and never wants to be bluffed. And look at that. He's picking up the chips. You have to weigh against, would Carey give up once you call him on the turn, or would he continue to fire? Hard to know. Being on the bubble, Carey may be a little bit more apt to hold on to his chips, but also he may think he can push Dan around a little bit more. So I don't know
Yeah.
how you balance those two things.
Kerry bet somewhat small here. He gave Dan a great price, which should maybe set off some alarm bells.
Well, maybe, but if Carey had a hand that was not really showdownable, he might
And
be
he
just trying
finds
to,
the fold.
might just be trying to bet Dan off of some of his draws that are better than
True.
Carey's.
True.
Carey is like it's hard to come up with a hand like that.
I think that
5-6
was-
suited. It's hard to come up with
I think that was a
much.
good fold by Dan there.
Yeah, me too.
But he hated the fold, and that's why they call him Digital Dan.
yes.
Because with a piece of paper, analog,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you fold that, and he hates that. He hates it when he gets a folded piece of paper. You can't fold the internet, buddy.
That's right. That's why. That's why he loves the internet. And
Yeah.
That's why he is, of course,
Digital Dan.
Digital Dan. There's no folding in cyberspace.
No.
I think that people have really been wondering for a long time why they call him Digital Dan, and it's pretty cool that you finally told him the true reason.
Yeah. Finally, I did.
He's really, really not cool with folding.
That
Jake's
guy-
going to play this hand.
Yeah, he is. All of his clothes are in the closet. No drawers because you have to fold them. for
Everything's
drawers.
hanging.
Yeah.
It's all hanging on hangers. Now, is it that he doesn't other people can fold. He doesn't want to fold, though, and he doesn't want his things to be folded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't want really to be around other people folding, but he can tolerate it. He's learned over the years.
Yeah, so now he's finally able to play poker. He's sort of like James Oakes
Whoa.
with electrical signals.
He just folded
wow.
King Jack off there. And Kerry just
Wow.
calls the Ace 10, which makes sense with his stack size.
Digital Dan had a reasonable shove stack there, I think.
Yeah, that's a surprise. And he would have flopped top pair.
Yeah, he would have had Jake in Jekyll. which is like jail, but where Jake goes instead of other people.
Yep, that's
Jail for only for Jake's. Jekyll.
Yep, definitely. And Kerry's got 2 back doors here.
He's gonna. Oh, I thought he was gonna fold, but
I think the ace of hearts is powerful. He can rep the nuts if a heart comes.
I guess he just wants to see if Jake is going to give up right away or not. Obviously, Kerry's going to fold if Jake fires again.
And Jake has what feels like a no equity hand on this board, so
Yeah.
it's either time to completely give up or keep
Yeah,
firing.
he's giving up. He's like, all right, I'm going to maintain my stack
Well-
rather than put myself in trouble.
Kerry could go for a check raise
Oh, he's
here.
got the ace of hearts.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot for a check raise, but Jake just gives up.
Jake does give up. He sees that. Oh, that's the worst, isn't it? When you give up and you would have been able to win with any
Well,
more aggression.
I don't know. Kerry might have gone for the check raise. Maybe not
on the river.
bubble. Maybe
on the
not-
turn.
yeah.
I would have worked on the turn almost certainly.
On the turn, it would have worked, yeah.
I would guess Kerry probably wouldn't have gone for the high variance play on the river, but
Not on the bubble, maybe.
Yeah, not in the bubble specifically, but you never know. And as he certainly had the nut blocker.
Kerry's capable of that type of play, by the way. He's the guy you have to look out for.
Kerry may have just taken the chip lead.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be something to see, because Jake's had the chip lead since like episode 0.1.
Let's get a sense. Let's look at these stacks as we go through the players here. Digital Dan probably not going to play that one. Kerry with
Well.
34K and the open.
It's probably similar to Jake's
Here's
stack,
Jake.
right? Oh, yeah, he's taking
30K.
it. He's taking over.
And Jake now feels like he's getting pushed around, but he's not.
And Taylor's evened out the stuff, too. He's over 20, right? He's like, maybe he's down to 20 based on blinds and annies.
So things have changed a little bit here.
Yeah.
Jake was cruising for so long, but that one hand where, he just took a shot with Jack 9 and shut it down, and just like that, Kerry's in the lead.
He didn't bring the right bubble bully scarf, This is more of his, early tournament scarf.
Yeah, like build it up early and
Yeah.
hold on scarf, yeah. Maybe he can run to his car on a break or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
This is a great idea. Digital Dan with the deuces and
They play
like
strangely with
16,
this stack.
17 blinds. It's a shover, it's fold, I think.
And he's moving it in.
It's reasonable.
And
Kerry's going
with
to call
the
right away.
Easy call with ace king suited
And,
here.
and the chip lead. Oh, my. And Taylor's got ace queen, and he folds instantly because all he does is fold correctly. That's an easy fold anyway.
It is, but not everybody's going to make it.
Yep. Now, it's possible if Kerry doesn't get it in there, I got to believe Taylor would have called. And that
Absolutely.
one of these guys would have been pretty much out.
Well,
Set for Digital Dan.
looks like Taylor's been saved by Kerry.
Taylor's, as you said, dancing through the raindrops.
Big double up for Digital Dan. Essentially flipping the chip position with Kerry.
Yeah, Digital Dan up to 30K. He may be the chip leader now, actually, because Jake is.
Yeah.
Jake's below 30. How about that?
How did that happen?
All that's left is for Taylor to be the chip leader. Then all 4 of them will be on the bubble and the chip leader. Taylor's kind of far away from that, but I don't know if he keeps making these crazy folds. He would have been eliminated right there, by the way, if Kerry
Yep.
does not pick up ace king. But and Taylor knows it. You see that little smile?
Oh, I think he has more than Dan. He wouldn't have quite been
Oh, okay,
eliminated.
okay. But he would have been.
If he had found a call, he would have been eliminated. He would have lost to Kerry's ace king.
Oh yeah, but I mean, now it comes down to if Dan doesn't open, Kerry and Taylor get into it, and that's it for Taylor.
Man, he has been making good decisions, but also getting very lucky with
Yes.
these situations cropping up the way they are.
I love these sit and goes, man. I love these spots. So high variance.
2-4 an awkward hand for Kerry with this stack.
He's
Just
got like 25 blinds. He can.
He just
he moves
moves it
in.
in.
Wow, that seems like a big move in.
especially on the
You
bubble.
could just raise it up. I think a normal raise is probably more profitable.
Well, he gets through.
Yep.
It is risky on the bubble to ship 2-4s there.
When you get called, unless the guy has ace king and maybe ace queen, you are done.
Yep.
They're not calling you with ace jack when you ship 24 blinds. That's for sure. What do you think about that beard? I don't know about it. I'm not sure about that beard.
I can't judge beards because I personally can't really grow facial hair, and it's haunted me for my entire adult life. I would love to grow a beard.
I gotta say.
Can I put Rogaine on my face?
Yeah,
I
of
never
course
thought
you
of
can.
that.
Of
Is
course
that a
you
thing
can.
that people do?
Oh, people do that.
Okay.
There's lots of YouTube.
I'm gonna
videos
look
about
into
it.
that.
Yeah. Hashtag Rogaine beard.
Okay.
First of all, this whole notion, though, that somehow, I can't grow a beard, so I can't judge other people's, is absurd. Do you ever talk about how well some NBA player, played? Of course you do.
I can play basketball.
Can you play really well?
No, but that's not the same thing.
It's the same thing when you're talking about you against LeBron James.
It's a bad
You-
analogy.
you
you
grow
can
your-
come up with a better analogy than that.
No, I'm sticking. I'm going down with the ship on this one. You play basketball. You're playing basketball is to LeBron James as you're growing a beard is to Kerry's beard.
That's
I think
probably
that's pretty
Yeah, that's
reasonable.
probably true.
Okay,
I can
and-
at least grow a little bit of facial hair.
By the way, it isn't like Kerry's got a James Harden beard. It's just a normal beard. It isn't like if it's James Harden beard, maybe
Yeah.
maybe you'd be right.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Jake's got the suited jack.
By that logic, does that mean Kerry is the second best beard of all time?
I don't think so.
No, he's on the Mount Rushmore of beards. Just asking for a friend. Digital Dan going to complete. Digital Dan, all those chips now. Kerry with the real hand decides not to raise. Interesting. Could have definitely bumped it up there. Both guys flop an open-ender. It's fun.
By the way, I think we noticed that we had Jake's stack wrong before. I think
yeah.
his stack went up without him winning a pot. I think
Oh,
he's
did it?
At like 36K or something like that.
There's 96,000 chips in play total.
Well,
interesting card.
That's a card right there.
Wow.
This could go very poorly for
Well,
Kerry.
that ace is going to save Kerry, though, unless a jack comes
Yeah,
on the
Kerry
river.
checks back because he has showdown value now.
Yeah, he may pay off a bet here from Digital Dan.
Depending on the size and the vibe of the situation.
Digital Dan notoriously tight.
He bets 5K. This might be enough to get Kerry to fold.
Kerry does not like that. He goes into that sort of, I'm thinking about it as I cross my hands on the table. See, right there? There it is.
Very creative
What do I wanna-
description of what he's doing.
I just report the facts, man. Yeah, Kerry does not like it at all. When he's done this so far, he mostly finds a call. Think about some previous spots in this sit and go. Can he be good is the question. Would Digital Dan bet a worse jack?
He can beat,
There aren't very many of
He
them.
can beat Miss Diamonds. That's
Beat
what
Miss Diamonds. Maybe Digital Dan. Will Digital Dan bet this much with Jack 8? Probably not. So,
No.
like you said, there's really no value he can beat.
No, certainly not.
Miss Diamonds and Miss Straight Draws. Digital Dan could just have a queen or something like that. Of course, we block that a little bit, but still.
I believe blinds have gone up. I think it's now 500, 1,000,
All right.
and almost more notably, 200 on the ante now.
Yeah.
That makes each orbit a lot more expensive. Or as Wonka likes to use M, we can try to
Oh, we're
calculate
not
the
doing
M,
that.
but we're not going to do that.
We're not doing
Screw
it.
you and your M, Wonka.
So stupid.
Yeah.
2,100 though in the pot. Oh, sorry, 2.3K in the pot before we even get going. And they just give Jake a walk. Yeah, you see, he's got 38K in front of him, so he is still the chip leader. So no one else is taking the chip leaders. We were anointing all these different people. You know.
We're just fools.
Yes.
That's all.
Kerry down to 15 blinds. Taylor down to 17 blinds. This is great because now Jake should be able to put pressure on Taylor and Digital Dan by raising. Taylor isn't going to want to bust with a marginal hand when Kerry is also relatively short.
Right.
Digital Dan should be able to put pressure on Kerry in the same way because they have similar chip stacks. If one of these guys gets out in front of the other one, it'll be different. Kerry moves in. Jake's going to have to call
Jake
here.
is not folding. And
He does.
remove in, and Taylor
By
gets
the way,
to
Taylor
fold the
again with the
A7
ace.
again.
He wasn't going to call it off, but he might
All
have
right.
shipped. He might have shipped on Jake.
Well, we could burst the bubble here if this
Yeah, this
race
could be it.
goes Jake's way.
Taylor's definitely rooting for that. I guess all the players are.
Oh,
well, wow.
Look at that flop.
Usually when they flop a set, you are not drawing to a full house so quickly, but there he
And
is. But that is not going to do it.
Kerry misses everything. He will be our bubble boy, our last elimination before the money. All of these guys are guaranteed 1K.
There's Jake, happily bubble burst, in the money, and a lot more chips.
I
too.
think everybody's happy.
Sure.
Not just Jake. The other guys are happy too.
But Jake has 55,000 of the 96,000 in play. I think he's the happiest. He's
Yes.
got to be the massive favorite to win this right now. I mean, I know it's no limit hold'em, but what are the chances Jake wins, do you think? 55. He's got like 60 some odd percent of the chips in play.
So he's probably got half the equity.
Yeah, give or take. It's
Yeah.
going to be less than whatever his chips are, of course. But yeah,
Yeah, he's got-
45 for 50% of the time he's going to win, right? Just
yeah,
based on
it's a good spot. And if he wins, by the way, he also gets a free
yeah.
$100 sports bet on Nitrogen,
Nitrogen Sports Poker. Saw that cool ad, right?
where you find your lost dreams.
Yep. You're going to like it at Nitrogen Sports Poker.
Taylor's going to limp the queen six. Dan with a much prettier hand, although it is behind.
See, now you may see Taylor be willing to gamble it up a
Yeah,
little bit,
for
right?
sure, because he's the clear short stack at
Yep.
this point.
There's no downside to Taylor busting now. Except, I mean, of course there's downside, but it's not this in the same way. Like, The other two guys have a lot more chips than he does, so he's going to have to take some chances.
Taylor just checks it all the way down. Dan never takes a shot.
This is why I like Carey's fold when Dan bet with the straight.
Yeah.
Digital Dan not taking that many shots, which is okay. But like you just have to know your man and play correctly against that player, which we see Taylor doing really nicely there.
Yep.
Oh, well, actually, maybe not. I mean, I guess you want to bet against him then if you think he's not going to take a shot, right?
Yeah, with your queen.
Yeah.
Hope to get called by something.
You might be able to get called by a worse hand.
Because as we said, Dan also doesn't like folding, so
Right.
maybe betting is a little bit better there.
Yeah, he doesn't like to fold. He doesn't like to bet. He doesn't like to bluff. Taylor moves in.
17.8 blinds, but I think with the chip positions, he's just okay with that as his moving range.
And there's the quick call from Jake. Once
that's
again,
a
Jake with
great hand to get quick called by if you're
Yep.
Taylor. If
Sort
he's
of
going to be
ideal.
a snap call for 17 blinds, it's so nice that none of your suits are taken either.
It's like getting called by ace 10.
And
that's
that's an
interesting
action flop. Action flop. Well, not so action turn. A queen now still wins for Taylor.
Yep.
And
Of
Taylor
course,
gets
he lost the 10, the two tens, but
Right.
he wins with the queen.
Taylor with a massive double up there.
Taylor and Jake have the same amount of chips now. They are the co-chip leaders. Digital Dan not far behind with about 30K himself. Okay, we got a real shootout now. We got a gunfight.
Yeah, for a little while last episode, it looked like Jake was just going to run away with this thing, and he'd just be like picking his spots against 10 blind stacks the rest of the way.
I mean, if a 7 or a 10 rolls off on the river, he's going to have so many chips compared to Digital Dan.
Yeah,
It's
he
just going to be over, but here's the chip stacks. Look at that. Actually, so I was saying there's 96,000. By doing that math, I see I'm incorrect, Grant. Looks like it's more like 103,000. I guess with the color-ups?
Yeah,
don't know how we got
I think
there.
there's slight mistakes there in the software. We
Yeah.
did start with 96,000.
There were
chips.
12,000 chips given to 8
Yeah.
players. That's 96,000. I know that much.
Right, so their color ups create some issues and maybe a little bit of a software issue
All
there,
right.
but they're very close to the actual stacks.
Yeah. Jake's going to play this. He's probably just going to limp in now against Taylor, I would guess.
Yeah.
Now we're going to just see these guys play poker again. Like, their stacks aren't as relevant as everyone's got over 30 blinds.
Taylor going to slightly deceptively check with the king-9 suited
Yeah,
there.
he certainly could have raised. Take advantage of position.
Just a flop.
Hey,
Top pair against a flush draw. This is an action flop
there
here.
should be some chips going in on this flop. Jake's going to bet it. Just a min bet.
Neither guy is going to believe too frequently that his opponent has a king here, by the way, because there was no raise pre-flop.
Not a min bet, by the way. 1.5. Super small, though. That's
And Taylor makes two pair, so never folding at this point, although Jack 10 did get there still.
That's about it, though. As Taylor, the only thing we'd be worried about is Jack 10.
So Jake now is repping Jack 10 or two pair most of the time when he continues betting.
Jake could have, Queen 9 or something like that. That's right. Taylor trying to decide if he's going to raise or call. He decides to call. I like that.
I think there's more value in calling than raising.
Yep. However, Jake
Well-
did have a chance to get there, as we see.
Now Taylor wishes he raised. Well, if he knew Jake's hand. I don't think this value bet's going to work out.
No,
Taylor.
I don't think so. You're going to need Jake to make a check raise all in for this to work out. But
With no
or check
blockers,
raise.
no blockers, and no reason to.
No, I'm sure Jake's check folding here. And
Taylor moves in.
Taylor's hoping that Jake has a king,
Yeah, that's exactly what he's hoping.
and just feel like he's going to feel forced to call.
It's an interesting play. I wonder if it's plus EV versus a normal bet against Jake's range. It could be. If you get called just 1 out of 10 times there, which is probably ambitious to think he's getting called 1 out of 10 times.
I think if you get called 1 out of 10 times, it's not good enough.
I guess, how frequently is he getting called by a king? Is what it is maybe.
I think a king may feel forced to call all the time. They're
Yeah.
three-handed.
right.
But
how-
everything else is going to fold probably. Maybe
Yeah.
a queen decides to
Jack
hold
10.
on.
Jack 10 will call.
Jack 10's calling for sure.
I don't know. Maybe that's
Jack 10's betting the river though. Jack 10's almost
maybe
never.
that's a good play. You get to eliminate a good player and get heads up with a massive chip lead if he calls.
That's not bad. At the same point, you get paid so much more often. You get paid by a queen a lot of the time if you bet more normally.
Right, of course. And it all goes into the calculation.
Yeah. Digital Dan open-ended. Taylor with bottom pair. I don't think Taylor can fold for a min
No,
bet
he's
here.
also got a backdoor flush draw.
Taylor now the chip leader for reals.
He was just nursing a short stack for a while.
Yep.
Well, Dan gets there, and I think he's not going to get any more action on that card. He decides to check it,
Interesting.
which
It's fair.
in practice is the right play right here.
But Taylor's not going to pay off here. There's no way Taylor's going to pay off. He needs Digital Dan to have 9-10. How much? Digital Dan bets how much? Is that a fiver?
Looks like
He bets more than the pot. Easy fold for Taylor.
I think Taylor was going to fold to almost any amount.
Yeah, I mean, if Digital Dan bet 1K, he's probably going to fold there, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Because he's got you.
Yeah.
He's just not going to bet 1K with the bluff. He's more likely to bet 5K with the bluff, but he's probably not going to do that either. As we were saying before, Digital Dan not super bluffy. Not saying he never bluffs, but he's not super bluffy.
We haven't seen him make a ton of river bluffs at the very least on
Yeah.
Poker Time. We've seen him make some interesting check raises on
Oh, yeah.
flops and turns.
For sure. For sure.
Taylor folding a playable hand on the button three-handed there.
That's interesting. I guess he feels like he's got a stack now, and he's just gonna bide his time a little bit.
Maybe Jake was making the ace face.
There it is. There it is again. The ace face right
Yeah.
there. That Nitrogen Sports felt with the cream color. Also, we like to call it
Clem. Clem color.
creme.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for. I was struggling to pronounce that.
In the original French. Southern French.
Yeah, creme.
Yeah. Like
You know-
Marseille area.
Yeah, you know what they call those things they eat for breakfast, which are
Baguette.
no, I was going for crepes.
Clep.
I think that's right. Digital Dan folding on the button. Jake has a playable hand, but wow, some of these guys are waiting for something real. Taylor folded 10-8 off on the button. Jake folded 8-5 suited out of position against Taylor. Taylor, of course, does have the chip lead now. Jake doesn't.
Wasn't Jake offsuit there?
Yeah, 8-5 off.
Yeah, you said suited.
Well, I didn't mean it. They both have suits.
Well
So
said.
is that true? So does that make it correct?
You can.
I think if you really dig down, you're going to see that I'm right.
I'd rather not. All right, Jake's gonna play this, right?
I mean, if he.
Oh,
just
I
for a
thought it looked like a fold.
I really thought he was throwing it away. That would be absurd. Of course, he's going to open this.
The old 2.5 Xer.
I feel like everyone's just going to throw their hands away now.
Well, Dan could call this hand for sure.
Dan probably is supposed to call here. Like, it's time to start defending. Someone has to win these pots, right? Like, we can't just let the blinds
6-5
go
plays
away
well enough post flop to defend for 1.5 more blinds.
against the button raise
Yeah.
for sure. But Dan says not good enough for me, even though I hate folding.
Well, he mostly hates folding once he's already committed some chips.
Well, he was the big blind.
Okay, voluntarily committed some chips.
Oh. Well, now you explained it, didn't you?
I did. That's correct.
Well, I'm ready for things to spice back up a little bit, you know? I feel like I want to see someone like trying to win this tournament right now. No, everyone's sort of just sitting back waiting for something, waiting to actually have something. Like, let's go, guys.
Dan's got an ace in the small blind, and he's going to raise it up.
He is. Is Jake going to defend this? It's defendable.
It is.
All right, Jake, thank you. That's what I'm talking about.
Looks like the numbers were slightly wrong there. It was
Yeah.
2,500 by Dan and a call.
Yeah.
So they're correcting that. And Jake flops best. This is a horrible flop for ace-3 against Jake's
Yeah.
defending range.
Dan checks it. I like that check a lot. Jake can reasonably bet or check here.
I think checking is probably slightly preferable. Betting is mostly just protection.
But, you know, in this case where, you know, the chips matter so much, it's not too bad to just to bet
Right.
here instead of, like, giving Dan shots at either bluffing you later or getting there.
Oh, you saw the king? Oh, I thought you saw the 9 and you were like feeling bad for him, but then saw the king queen and we're like, okay, I have some stuff to sweat. You saw the king.
They're just talking about Kerry's bust out hand there, I think.
No, they're talking about when Taylor had king 9 and he moved in and and Jake saw one of the hands. Taylor was saying he thought Jake saw the 9, but actually Jake saw the king.
I don't think Jake saw either card. I really think they're talking about the king queen 9 flop where Kerry busted.
Oh.
They talk about feeling bad for him.
Yeah, no, because if Jake saw a 9, then he'd be feeling bad that he folded because Taylor thought Jake
No,
had a
it's
better hand
definitely
than that.
about Kerry's bust
Okay.
out hand. He's talking about
You
which
say definitely, huh?
yeah.
You're gonna put your whole reputation.
Yeah,
on that?
I'll bet however much you want.
All right. Well, Jake flops an open ender.
And a
Taylor flops
spade
a
draw.
flush draw.
Oh, yeah, Taylor's got the spade draw.
A 6 would be very bad for Jake. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
Yeah,
very,
the
very
6
bad.
is the good card for Taylor here.
6 of non-spades is the best card. Jake does not even want to get involved out of position.
And look how upset he is. He ran away.
Yep. He's going to put on a different scarf. It's like,
I think he went and found another scarf.
you know, Isaiah Thomas does that. You know, if he's having a bad first half, he goes in the locker room, changes his shoes because he says the other shoes didn't have enough buckets in them. Same kind of a thing, probably. The scarf probably didn't have enough pots in it.
Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense. That's all I'm saying. I mean, logically, that
that's
makes
just
sense.
a scientific thing that you did.
It's physics, I think.
Yeah.
Taylor's going to play this.
10-8 suited. He folded the 10-8 off.
But enough is enough.
Yeah, why'd you say it like that though?
Because it's like 80s cool. Digital Dan can play this hand.
It is it is the small blind, but that is a
Yeah.
pretty hand.
I mean, it may have felt like it's 3 better fold there. Wow, and
Is
Jake,
Jake
looks like
gonna
he's just
fold? He
gonna-
always looks like he's gonna fold.
It's true.
Oh wow, he actually is gonna fold. That's a defendable hand as well. Oh, Jake has gotten short though. He's down to 22.8k after that hand against Taylor with the tens.
But Taylor only made it 2.3, right? It's
Yeah.
pretty cheap. It's
Yeah.
1.3 to call. Look at how Taylor has really moved ahead, and Jake, who was just bossing the table for so long, no longer.
He's got to go find maybe scarf number 3. You just got to keep going until you find the right scarf.
Yeah, well, maybe give this scarf a chance. I mean, it's barely been on him, you know?
It didn't give him the confidence to play the 4-2 suited.
It's
That's
true.
for sure.
That's true.
Not a confidence scarf. We know that, all right?
Digital Dan looks like he's finally deciding, all right, we don't need good hands to play. We're 3-handed for crying out loud. Taylor's going to call.
And Digital Den should have never opened 6-5.
Grant does not mean that.
Taylor flops pretty well here. Double gutter.
Yeah. Digital Dan going to continue.
It's not going to work. The question is, does Taylor raise or call?
Either is reasonable.
Dan bets 5K. He's been sizing it up.
Wow. Taylor feels like maybe now he shouldn't raise. It looks like Digital Dan may not be interested in going anywhere. Turns out Digital Dan's got the nada mucho.
Though.
That's right, I said it.
And Dan has an opportunity to win this pot now. Taylor
this
will
king.
certainly fold to another sizable bet.
The problem is because Taylor called, I think that's thrown off.
Is
Dan
Taylor
a little
going to
bit.
win this with 9 high? Oh, no.
Nope.
He makes a pair. He's going to win it with a pair of 9s unless Dan takes a shot, though.
Dan could reasonably. Dan can have a jack here.
Easily he could have a jack.
I like a bet.
Could have 10 jack.
Bet big.
Queen-
Taylor's not going to
Queen
call.
jack, 10 jack are both
Oh,
in his
Taylor
range.
moves in himself.
Ooh, Taylor's
as a
repping
bluff.
the jack. That's interesting and pretty cool.
He thinks Dan's got a queen or a 10 or a king because Dan checked back the turn.
Yep.
Digital Dan, of course, had an easy fold with nada. But wow, that was dangerous because Taylor's getting called if Dan has a jack.
Yeah, but I think he knows he's getting folds out of everything else.
Yeah, pretty much everything else. And Dan doesn't have sets or anything like that.
Yeah,
So yeah, and even 2 pairs, he almost never has 2 pair.
right.
So it's a pretty easy spot. But it sucks to get snapped.
Yep, then you're just out. Make your money
No,
back.
I mean Taylor had more
Oh,
chips
he had
than
more
Dan,
chips, yeah.
but still. So that's kind of neat, though. We've seen Taylor do these big overbets one time with the nuts and another time with a bluff. We've seen it both ways. It's kind of cool.
We've seen him on. I think we saw him a couple episodes ago do it as a bluff also.
Oh,
He did
yeah?
it once when he had queen high on like a king something board.
Oh, he bet like 2.5
Yeah.
x the pot or something. Bet like 11 into 5 or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. I remember that.
Joseph had a pair of 4s and folded where he would have called a normal size bet.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Taylor's really playing with bet sizing, and it seems to be working for him pretty well. Now, granted, in these last few spots, like Jake had pretty much nothing and Dan had absolutely nothing.
Yep.
So it wasn't going to matter. In fact, I think Jake had nothing also. So they were just always going to fold. But still, it's interesting to watch Taylor try and boss the table with his big stack. Digital
Dan looking
yeah,
sad.
definitely going to give up that. Jake
Oh,
Jake acted like he had 2 queens there the way he...
Queen
look at
10
that.
sometimes looks like queens for a second.
Queen 6 looks like queens.
Queen 10 can look like queens if you want it to.
I don't know what
All you
you're
have to
talking
do is
about.
believe.
Just close your eyes and dream.
Yep, that's what winning poker's all about.
Taylor's now forcing Digital Dan to make change. Just another way he's psychologically pushing around these guys.
The minutia of these moments really impactful.
This is the kind of stuff Federer Holtz does to his opponents.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like,
He's like,
"You got-
make change for me, you piece of crap.
All right, Digital Dan gonna play. He's got 20 blinds. He doesn't have to shove this. He could just do a normal open.
Looks like that's what he's choosing to
I
do.
like that.
See Action Aaron in the background just walking over.
Let's see if Taylor decides to stick around here.
Looks like he already did with the
Oh, yeah.
10-9.
Very
I mean, it was only
defendable.
1.2K more, and he's got
Yeah.
a very nice looking hand.
Seems like a very easy defend.
And he flops it all. I mean, it's a slightly scary wet board, but
oh, he's
he's
so
very
hoping.
happy.
So hoping for Digital Dan to bet that. Digital Dan picks up the clubs. This got
And
interesting.
a straight draw. Not a very good straight draw, but it is a straight draw.
Yeah. Digital Dan is now combo drawing here, and it's 3,500. Dan could play this either way. It's not unreasonable to make a big bet here.
He could
Big
just
raise.
shove.
He could, and the problem is it's a little hard to tell the story of that you have a huge hand because you check back the flop. But you could have king jack and check back the flop.
You could have 6-8.
Yep. He could have things.
Yeah.
For sure. Could have queen 7 suited, something like that. Digital Dan bricks, though.
Whiffs it all. And is Taylor going to just lead out as a value bet here? It's hard to imagine Dan betting a queen twice.
Taylor moves in
He
again.
moves in. He keeps doing it.
That's a more questionable move in, I think. Like, is Digital Dan calling with one pair?
I don't know.
So if he's not calling with one pair, what are we hoping for here exactly?
Yeah. I think Taylor might think that he's done it enough times that he can get called later.
Okay, that's fair, actually. The problem is Digital Dan checked back the flop, so he often doesn't have top pair, and it's just really hard to call then.
Yeah, it is. That might have been a slight misstep.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. But look at Taylor's chip stack, by the way. Holy Magolis. He's got everyone. He's crushing.
Holy Magolis.
I said it. I've been waiting to say that for a long time on this show, and I finally felt free enough
I mean,
to let it
I thought
loose.
we were racially sensitive people here,
Wow.
but I guess
Really?
I guess only me.
Are you serious? That just happened? I can't believe you said that. Jake's going to open the ace-6 off, and we're just going to blow by
You
that.
can't just go calling people Magolis.
I didn't call anyone a Magoli. I said holy Magolis. In fact, I'm saying these Magolis are extra special.
You know how many people are Googling Magolis right now?
I don't. I don't even know how you would spell Magolis.
Magoli?
That's possible.
I hope it's not actually like accidentally a racial term.
I'm going to be
To
very
be clear,
sad.
if it is, we had no idea.
It was all for the jokes, guys. All for the jokes.
Our jokes will take us down one day. We've
Taylor-
always known that.
56,500.
7 deucer, and Dan continues to be frustrated with his bad
Bad
holdings.
12.5 blinds here. Could have moved in, but reasonable just to give up.
Yeah,
also.
with 6 high, with like the 6-3 offsuit,
Yeah.
I think that's probably a fold.
Could have moved in.
Yes, it's
That's
allowed.
an option.
It's no limit hold'em.
That's right. You can't always move in. Not always allowed.
And no limit hold'em. It is.
No, it's not. If you've already folded, if you're already all in, can't do it then, huh?
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's right. I got technical on you. All right, Digital Dan. That's another easy fold, but he is short.
And he's frustrated, and he's lucky he didn't have ace 10 or something there because Jake has
Yeah.
a monster in the small blind, and he limps it.
He's
I
trapping.
kind of love it. I think he's going for the limp shove here.
Oh, yeah. Limp re-raise of some sort.
Oh, he's
Taylor-
chosen a
oh.
good time.
Taylor, I think, is because this hand is so bad, Taylor doesn't even want to see a flop with it. Is Jake going to move in or just go for a normal raise?
I think he's going to move in. What if he makes it 9K and Taylor calls and then he whiffs? What's he going to do?
Yeah. Looks like he did move in and gets the instant fold. That's good for the metagame for Jake, too. Taylor's going to be a little less likely to take some shots when Jake completes because
Yep.
Jake's got that in his arsenal.
Yep, I agree. It's a good metagame play. It also works well with the 26K stack size. It's a lot easier to get your chips in by limp raising there with ace king than hoping that Taylor shoves over you if you open, I think. And that way you pick up the dead equity if Taylor has something like 8-3 and decides to raise as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of just getting a little bit, the 1K, you get 3.5.
Taylor
moves him
Dan.
in. Digital Dan shows one. He was already very unhappy.
Has to fold the 6-3.
Yep. Digital Dan down to 11 blinds, and Taylor is, I would say at this point, he's starting to put on a clinic of his own just in terms of big stack bullying here.
Yeah, he seems a little bit more willing to do it than Jake did, although that may be a function of us no longer being on the bubble.
Yeah, it's a little different. Although the bubble's an even better place to
It
bully.
is. But you still have that fear that if you double a couple people up, then you could get screwed and be the
Yeah.
bubble.
The other thing that's nice for Taylor is he's got position on Jake, so it's really hard for Jake to do much of anything. It's just really, really tough with Dan sitting there with 10 blinds, 10
Yep.
and a half blinds. Yeah, Jake's like, well,
I was calling
was he really? We don't know. Probably.
for 10 blinds, I
Yeah, I
think.
guess he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was calling. You're right.
And Dan is clearly frustrated. I think
He's
Dan's
still-
shoving range might be a little wider than normal due to his frustration.
So what does that mean? What do you think that's going to...
I think he
Go down
shoves some
to.
queen highs there.
with
queen,
10 blinds,
queen 9.
I think he's supposed to.
Yeah. But
Here's
I don't
this-
know.
He can shove this.
I think he will.
Yep, I think that's fine. See if he gets it through or not. Jake folds, Taylor folds, Dan picks up some chips. Back in business.
Gets a full orbit right there. 1M.
He's the ice cream Dan.
He just won 1M, guys.
That's right. What is M? Some people may be asking.
Google it. That's the answer.
it's an orbit. It's how much it costs to play an orbit
Yep.
in poker.
Coined
and
by
Dan Herring.
Action Dan.
I don't know if he actually coined it, but he popularized it
Oh,
anyway
okay.
in his Harrington on Hold'em. But either way, he really taught a whole generation of players to use that, and most people have gotten away from that. We certainly have, and we call it. We just do it by blinds now, which is admittedly less precise.
It is.
But a lot
you just
easier
kind of like
to think
subjectively
about.
factor in the anti-ratio to the blind. You can do that
I mean,
if
you
you.
more or less know.
And look, speaking of which, the blinds have gone up. We're now at 1.2K big blind. Something's
good.
going
Things
on.
are getting a little more interesting. Apparently, there's
The chips had to be moved in a certain way for this hand to
that
play.
calls out our Lord Satan.
Yes.
That's just this is part of the, the ceremony.
You guys didn't know this was a satanic sit and go.
The winner not only gets a free $100 at Energy Sports Poker, they also get the opportunity to sell their soul
All
or
right.
have it ripped from their
Here we
body.
go. Jake is going to
Be distracted and
fold
fold.
the button.
Taylor's going to move him in. Digital Dan shows the 3, and
He's had Jack 3 like 3 or 4 times in the past 3 orbits.
he's had a lot of trays. 6-3 off, Jack 3 off.
Yeah.
Taylor just gets to move in with the Jack 7. That's Taylor bullying a little bit, and that's great. Because you know what? Even though we're not on the money bubble, in some ways it acts the same, right? The money bubble, it was $1,000.
This is another
And this is another $1,000
Yeah.
jump. Yeah. The difference is Digital Dan knows he's got his buy-in back, so it does feel emotionally. A little
It
bit
does
different.
definitely feel different.
Digital Dan's gonna call a little bit lighter than he otherwise would, almost certainly. Taylor folds some card combination. Digital Dan gets it in there.
Jack 7 is the shove hand of the moment. If Jake only knew, he would snap call.
It's like 9 blinds is just too much. Jake could call like a 5 or 6 blind shove, I think.
Queen 9, I think he starts considering it.
I don't think he's going to call even Queen 9. I think he's Queen 10. I think he's going to have to.
All right,
strongly
sorry, I
consider.
said Queen 9 then.
Well, just Queen Jack. I think he calls,
yeah.
but Queen 10 is a maybe, and Queen 9 I think is a no. But that's me. That's really me. I'm talking about, not Jake. Right? I don't know what Jake's going to do. Jake's a little tighter than
Queen
me, though.
9 suited?
I don't think it's good enough for 9 blinds. It depends on your opponent. Digital Dan isn't shoving enough. Well, he's going to start shoving now because this one's going in 2 for 10 blinds. Jake throws it away quickly. Taylor
Taylor.
throws it away.
It's the Dan party now.
Yep. I mean, this is what we're going to see a lot of right now. People shoving on Dan and Dan shoving on people until finally someone picks up a hand once they've been shoved on.
No. If I move closer, it would work.
I'd like to see a big battle between Jake and Taylor.
Yeah, me
While
too.
Dan's sitting there with the 10 blind stack.
I mean, that would be really exciting, right? That would be someone trying to put ICM pressure on someone else, or at least the perception of that. Either way, that'd be great. Jake could play this, but Dan's so short, he may decide just not to get
yeah,
involved.
and Jake's not exactly a deep stack either.
Yeah. Taylor moves him in with the
moving
king.
Again, and Dan. with
Easy fold.
Another dominated hand.
Yep.
Folds again.
See, Taylor's going to do, I think, with pretty much any 2 cards right now when it folds to him.
He has had reasonable hands each time, it seems. Jack 7 suited was the weakest of
I
them.
think it was Jack 7 off. But
It was suited.
Was it? Okay.
No, it was off. You're
Yeah.
right. Dan's was suited the next hand.
Yeah. But I think at this point, especially because Dan isn't making these calls, it's easy just to keep moving him in. Also, Dan is in this mindset clearly of like, I don't get anything. I don't get anything. So
Yeah.
that's a good place where he just maybe feel like a little bit more defaulting towards folding.
Right. He is a little bit downtrodden at the moment.
Dan hates his hand, throws it away. See that shake of the head and like, I'm so card dead.
Yep.
That's a time to try and push people around when they feel that way.
Right, because they'll just frustration fold everything. Like, I just can't find a spot.
Right. Like, I still don't think Dan's going to make a really loose call because of it. Now, some players might, but I don't
Yeah.
think Dan's one of those guys. So that's just a good reason to keep on leaning.
You got to know your opponent in a spot like this.
Yeah.
When there are behavioral things going on.
Dan's still with over 10 blinds, though, so he actually has time. He saw the
He has
Jack
Jack
first.
3 again. It's kind of crazy how many
Yeah.
times he's at Jack 3. I think it's like 4 times.
Jake can't wait any longer. He knows he's got to build his deck. Oh, and look at Taylor just say,
Taylor really putting the pressure on Jake there. That's like a 24 blind shove.
But that's great ICM pressure, right?
Yeah.
Because Dan is so short, Jake doesn't want to give up a lot of chips. Even
Right.
if Jake had a significantly better hand, like ace 7, ace 8, ace 9, I think he's just going to fold.
Yeah, I agree. Taylor blocks all of those hands, obviously, with the
Of
ace.
course.
He doesn't want to play ace 4 off post flop against a good player. So I think if you're going to find a spot to shove 24 blinds, that's a pretty good one.
It is. That said, we have seen Jake limp in that spot with ace king. He did it
Yes.
recently against Taylor.
Yep,
So
but
he
I
can
guess,
show up with it. But
I guess Taylor's not scared of that.
Yeah, he also did have an ace, like you
And
said.
here he goes again.
Yep,
and
same
Dan's hand got a little better.
Taylor-
Jack 4 off now.
Taylor has had the best hand every single time he's done this
Yes,
to
he has.
Dan. Even though it doesn't, not like he's had a good hand, but he's always had a better hand.
Yep.
So Dan will be happy upon seeing this anyway, I think. Feel a little bit better about himself.
Well, I mean, all of his folds have been reasonable. He can feel fine about it either way.
Of course. But that he was actually behind every time, too. Because sometimes you get into a thing, it's like, I should have just called at some point. you know?
Yeah.
Like, whatever. But even now, Dan still has around 10 blinds, right? So it's fine. Oh, well. Here's an easy open for Taylor.
Hoping Dan shoves this time.
27.
Dan obviously has a terrible hand. We know that.
And Jake has a folding hand as well. That's probably pretty disappointing for. Oh, Jake folds king 9
Wow.
suited. What?
That is the Dan Pasco has 10 blinds fold.
But you can just call.
I agree. I think that's a little too tight there.
You're allowed to just call. You don't have to always
Right.
shove out of the big blind.
You can call, see a flop, and play poker.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do that. But Jake is really trying to maintain his stack. That may have been a little too tight.
I think it was. Yeah.
Digital Dan, we know, isn't going to play this. He hasn't played any of the other ones, just like it. Jake's probably going to get. I think he's just going to fold. Yep. The Dan stack is basically making it easy for Taylor to
Oh,
win.
and Taylor
this.
had 2 9s, so
Yeah.
Jake making lucky timing with the queen high fold there.
It's true. But you can see how Dan stack being so short is just making it so easy for Taylor to accumulate chips, and he's
Yep.
giving himself a chance to win the tournament right now, even
Yep.
though they're still three-handed. He's got almost 2/3 of the chips in play.
Sometimes it just goes like this. You know, he has a huge emotional advantage at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. It goes like this, but it's going like this partially because the other guys are letting it go like this.
Absolutely.
There's sometimes you can't do anything. Like Taylor does this. There's nothing Dan can do except see what he has. And oh well,
he's calling this time.
this is an easy one. Taylor actually is lucky to have a hand as good as he does.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a lot of queen 7 and stuff like that. At least he has an overcard.
Great spot for Digital Dan to get right back into this. Get up to 20 blinds if he can hold here.
It is also the best hand Taylor's had when he's shoved here.
Yeah. Digital Dan has to
Just
dodge
an
just the
ace.
3 outs. He does it.
King's full for the digital one.
And all those folds, you start to feel really good about all those folds all the way along. Waiting. And now 20 blinds again. Digital Dan doubles up one more time through Taylor. He'll be the chip leader.
That's disappointing as Taylor. You finally got a hand that you are okay with being called.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, it's not amazing, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Completely fine. Like, you can absolutely get called by a worse hand. Digital Dan can call with some king highs and some worse aces.
He had
actually.
2 king highs in that one.
Yes, he did. But he hit a king on the river, so they both made a pair of kings.
Dan's still only with 16 bigs after the double up.
But look how short Jake is now.
Yeah.
Jake's been
about 20.
Jake's been sitting back waiting for Dan to get out, and Dan has instead doubled up. It's sort of nightmarish for Jake, I think. He
And
wakes up in sweats.
Taylor just limped, I think. That's interesting.
Wow.
He just feels like he has position, and people aren't going to ship on him with these stack sizes, so he can limp and play in position.
Yep. Well, if they ship, they're going to have real hands
Yeah.
anyway, and he
And
gets to save money.
And he's more likely to get shipped on if he opens than if he limps.
Yep. Interesting move. He checks back middle pair.
Well, that's going to kind of kill action, I think.
It's hard to believe anyone has an ace. Taylor's more likely to have it certainly than Jake. And there's going to be no chips for Taylor.
I don't think he can bet for value even.
No, I'd expect him to check it right back. He does. Easy win. Look at Digital Dan. He can't believe Taylor's got the 10-7 off there. That's right, Digital Dan. You have to adjust a little bit. You can shove on him if he starts doing stuff like that.
I like watching Taylor's tournament game.
Me too.
He's got a lot of gears.
It's been very interesting to watch him with the overbets, pushing people around. Now we just saw him limp the button. It's cool. This guy's a pro. You can see it.
Yep. I've always found he has some of the more interesting play on our Poker Time cash game as well. You know, check raising gut shots on paired boards and stuff like that. Doing cool stuff.
Yeah. Digital Dan thought about it, but King 4 off, not good enough. He's got too many blinds now. Is Jake going to go for a raise? Looks like
Yeah.
it.
He's tired of all this BS.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just limp the button in my big blind. That's disrespectful. That's saying you want to play post flop against me.
Is it disrespectful to want to play post flop against someone?
Yeah, you're saying, like, you suck.
With position.
I'm great.
You have position.
Position is cool, too, and you're not, Jake. That's what Taylor was saying. And Jake knows it. That's why he raced.
A lot of anger. A lot going on underneath the surface, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the scarf hides all of his immensely throbbing neck veins from all of his anger.
So I have to believe Jake is not going to fold this hand.
No,
I think we're deep enough.
if
We have
Dan
20
moves
blinds.
in, it's a weird spot for sure if Dan moves in.
Well,
and Dan's
wow.
gonna move in, right?
Dan does move in.
It's a super close spot, I think.
Dan, the tighter one, the guy less likely to make moves.
And look at Jake's face. It says it all right there.
I think ace-9 off would have probably already been in the muck. This is so close. Jake's calling ace-10 here for sure, right?
I think so. I think this is probably a call as well. It's just
Yeah.
it feels so bad.
I mean, it's probably time to gamble it up a little bit as Jake anyway, right?
The big jump is between second and first, not between third
Yeah.
and second.
Here's a way to get all your chips. How to get the chips to be able to fight Taylor if you get heads up. At the same point, we call and we lose.
We're mostly out
We're down
third.
to like 5 blinds. Yeah,
We're mostly going to be out third at that point.
this is a close one. I think he was calling pretty quickly if Taylor moved in,
Yep, I think so too.
because Taylor could be moving in with blockers and things like that. I just don't know that Dan's going to do that as much. As you were even saying when I was saying he's just going to not fold this hand. Dan moving in is really different.
Dan did move in on carry with the ace-6 before from the big blind.
Yep, but Kerry folded ace-10.
Yep.
Of course, it was a different spot too than we are here in terms of where everybody was.
I don't know what I do here. I think I ultimately call, but I don't. I hate it so much.
I hate either decision, honestly. I don't like calling. I don't like folding.
Can we just limp? Can we go back in time and limp?
I give Jake a lot of credit. We don't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. He's taking his time. He's really trying to think about it. He's looking at Dan.
He
He
makes the
does
call.
find the call. It's reasonable.
I think you're right that the suitedness probably was the determining factor there.
I cannot blame him for calling here at
Ace
all.
Queen, I'm getting
This is a big
snapped
pop.
off, so I didn't know what is,
And
What
look
a
at that
flop
flop for Jake. Oh,
Wow, an 8 or a heart ends it.
and that's already
the
it.
end.
It's over. Dan is out in third place.
Digital Dan had such a great spot there for himself,
Wow.
but now he's done.
Yeah,
Just like that, he's done.
that's an unfortunate way to go. I'm sure Dan feels very frustrated at the moment, having been super card dead for all of three-handed play, picking up a couple good spots in a row, winning the first one, and the second one just drawing dead on the turn.
Yep.
And he walks away sadly with no profit, but no loss either.
He walks away like Sean Penn.
Uh,
Dead man walking.
Oh,
Where's Susan Sarandon when you need her to bail you out, huh?
she's gonna deal the next poker 10.
Oh, fantastic. She can't play in it, huh? She's going to deal in it?
She doesn't have the bankroll.
Not anymore. It's been a tough few years. So these guys are now playing straight up for $3,000. The winner gets $3K.
And the $100 nitrogen
That's
sports
right.
bet.
So it's $3,100 still to play for. They both have locked up $2,000. This should be fun. These are our two pros. I guess there were 3 pros that started out when all of a sudden, but we still got 2 left. And
If I were to pick 2 when this thing started, I might have picked these 2 guys.
yeah,
So you
that's not crazy at
show
all.
Jake as a big blind now?
Jake has run pretty well, though. He got in with ace-deuce against 6s and 1. He got in with
Yep.
ace-9 against ace-jack and 1. That's a lot of his chips. But, hey,
Just
that's the deal.
getting it in behind and losing doesn't make you a bad player. though.
No, they were both reasonable spots to call.
Or in winning, excuse me. Yeah, they certainly were.
These guys are close in terms of chips now, too.
Jake's just happy that Taylor isn't Robert Mizrachi because that's who Jake lost his heads-up match to at a final table at the World Series of Poker.
He wouldn't want to try and get revenge on Mizrachi? I
No.
don't understand.
No,
We'd never
why-
want to see him again?
I don't know.
Does Robert Mizrachi haunt Jake's dreams?
I think he does. I don't know for sure. I can't speak to Jake, but when I was on a long car ride with Jake, he fell asleep and he kept being like, "No, Robert, no, stop raising, Robert, no,
Huh.
you got there on the river again, Robert."
But in your
And then,
shirt,
he
it's
was, and then he
Mizrachi.
was crying a little bit.
You sure
Yeah.
it's Mizrachi?
Well, it stands to reason, doesn't it?
Did he say? I mean, it doesn't have to be. It could be another guy named Robert. All right, Jake's going to play this hand. See if he decides to limp or come in with a raise. Looks like he's going to
We're
raise it up.
pretty deep all of a sudden here, by the way.
Yeah. Good spot for Jake. A jack high board would be golden.
Platinum even. Well,
Well, that's interesting.
he's got the gut shot and Taylor's got the open ender.
You don't have a club? No.
Does Jake decide to... You could check back here. Betting is reasonable, too. Now, Taylor has 2 options.
Yep, he's not going to fold.
Raising is interesting because he definitely has 8s in his range. He can rep trips here.
That's true.
He might also raise a 10 heads up sometimes here.
He is going to raise. This is good. I like this play. Jake has got a tough decision here, too, with the board paired.
I think with the board paired and the flusher out there, you're supposed to fold.
The thing is this. While Taylor can have an 8, he often doesn't.
Yeah.
And sometimes when he has an 8, he's not going to fast
Oh,
play it.
Jake moves in. That is super cool. He's
Wow.
not going to buy any of Taylor's
Wow.
BS. And Taylor snap
What
folds.
a play by Jake Dahl.
And Taylor feels real dumb for raising now because he turned a hand with a bunch of equity into a fold.
Yeah, that's the worst. And he cost himself 10,000
Yeah.
chips doing so. Jake takes the chip lead.
That's a big swing in this game right there.
That was a huge, interesting pot. That was like a panache pot. Pot with panache. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what's going on here. I'm out of control, Grant.
Yeah, the panache.
The pot. He won that pot with panache. How about that? Did he though? Anyway, Taylor's gonna open the button or not. Who knows? Yes, he is. All right,
No,
good.
he's going to limp the button. No, he's
No, he's
opened
gonna
it.
raise.
You're right.
Almost a min raise. Jake's sort of forced to defend almost everything.
And he's got a dominating hand.
What a key pot that may end up turning out to be.
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
the lead Jake now has. He's got almost a 20K lead on Taylor.
He really established dominance in this heads-up match, too. And this is a great flop for Jake's hand.
Huge.
He's not going to be folding. Taylor checks back bottom pair.
Gotta believe Jake's gonna bet the turn here.
Yeah. Is Taylor just going to dump bottom pair? I don't know. We're heads up, but
Close.
it's a lot to hope for being ahead here. He is ahead.
He just folds, yeah. Besides, it's not good enough.
He doesn't really have any extra equity except for making 2 pair trips there.
He did have more equity than Jake, but not a huge amount. It's perfectly fine to fold there. Also, he didn't invest very much in that pot. Jake, though, built on his lead. It's amazing how quickly things can turn around in this game.
Yeah.
But that was a really exciting play when Jake moved in there.
Right. Both of those guys, I like how both of them played the hand.
Jake's just glad Taylor didn't have 9-8. 9-8 would have Jake drawing almost dead.
Yeah.
But
Or any 8, really. Any
Well,
8 has Jake in pretty big trouble,
yeah.
and Taylor is going to be calling with those hands.
oh yeah, any 8 for sure. If you're
And
Jake,
we're raising the button every time here.
yeah.
Not seeing any limps so far. Heads up.
Taylor's short again. Well, short compared to Jake anyway. It's not really short.
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage is short.
There was a time, and it's still going on, I think, where during heads-up matches at the end of tournaments, a lot of good players have decided limping the majority of their buttons is a good strategy. I don't know if I generally agree with that. I like what these guys are doing in raising. The button is when you have position. That's when you want more chips to go in the pot.
I mean, it's a fair point for sure. Part of it comes down to if you have an opponent who's going to be 3-betting you a lot and 3-betting you big, you don't want to open yourself up to that, right? And
Right.
you sort of lose your position and chips by doing
Yeah.
That's the counterpoint to it. But I hear what you're saying, and I don't think you're wrong.
Taylor dominates Jake in this hand. And
Continues to.
continue, except Jake does have the only flush draw.
Still, I think we'd all rather have Taylor's hand right now. He
About
decides to bet for value.
7% more. I'd like it.
Oh, okay. Not 14% more? 7%? Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
If we're going from 50.
Oh, what an incredible turn card for Jake.
Now, that's a big part of Jake's range, so Taylor's not going to, put a ton of chips in here.
But he's going to call a river bet if Jake makes a river bet.
Yes.
If Jake checks, Taylor's going to bet. Taylor's going to lose a bet here.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I don't think Jake can find a fold, even not that Taylor's going to raise. Taylor just has to call.
He
knows
does,
it.
and he calls quickly, and
Yeah.
not surprised to see that he lost, but
He has to call.
can't really do anything but.
I mean, if Jake had the queen of spades, Jake would probably check. No, he might bet the queen of spades, and because he figures he's going to call anyway.
Jake's up over 70K now.
Wow. Jake in incredible shape now to win this thing. However, one double up for Taylor. Bam.
And Taylor is a tough opponent, so
Yep.
it's not so easy.
As you see, a lot of players are going to bet that turn with the flush draw as well as top pair, but Taylor didn't even consider it.
He knows not to, based on
Yep.
the range advantage Jake
Yep.
had at that point.
Almost 71K now.
Well,
for
there's a
Jake.
limp. Jake decides to implement a little bit of limping here.
Yep.
Raise would have worked. And
But
now he
he's gonna
outflopped
get-
Taylor.
He's going to get I would assume he's going to get at least one bet out of Taylor right here.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for Taylor to win this hand. He needs a 4 or running hearts.
Go running 9s. That'll do it.
Okay.
There's not much. Yep, but he has to call once.
That's Taylor drawing nearly dead now. Only a 4 will help him.
Look at our outs tracker up there in the upper right. You see he's got the 4 diamonds and the 4 spades.
It's our 2007 technology, bringing it straight to you. And Taylor doesn't really consider calling the turn when Jake bets again.
Yeah, he's seen Jake give up a lot on turns
Yep.
in bigger spots than this. Jake may be just leaning on him, but there's no reason to believe that.
And
18
yeah,
blinds.
it's just going to be a tough spot on the river unless he improves.
By the way, 96,000 in play, so there was a software issue, like you were saying.
Yeah. The AI is taking over, man, and they don't know how to do math somehow.
Taylor just moves in with the ace-8 suited. Huh. You know, it's not crazy or anything like that, but at the same point, Jake may be calling with ace-9, and he might be folding ace-6.
That is possible. Maybe Taylor's just trying not to call it off against a king 10 type hand. He wants
Yeah.
to make sure he doesn't
Right.
have to race against that type of
Right,
hand.
right. Same point, raise. I guess he's got enough chips. He doesn't have to be in a race spot
Yeah.
yet. It's not so bad. He's under 20 blinds, right? Or he was. It's close. These things are all close. All right, so we're going to learn about Jake right now. Is he just going to throw this one away, or is he going to keep those bullion shoes on? Ah, there we
Keeping
go.
the shoes on.
Cool.
The shoes are tight. Taylor is not folding. Is that a raise or a call? Looks like a call. That makes sense with Jack 9.
10-3 off versus Jack 9 off. This is heads-up poker.
Yeah. And Jake with the gut shot. Taylor with the pair.
Very understandable. Jake decides
Oh,
to
for
bet
sure he's
here.
betting this board every time. Most of Taylor's range that hits this board is 3-betting.
This doesn't feel good as Taylor, but he does have to call.
He does have to call once. He has the backdoor flush draw as well.
He has to put in 5% of his stack here with just this sort of poor hand, but what are you
Well,
gonna
now
do?
it's going to be harder for Jake to get Taylor to fold.
I don't know if Jake bets again, you're not going to like it.
Well,
as
Jake
Taylor,
checks
though.
quickly.
Well, now you think, well, I'm losing to a king, I'm bidding everything else. Jake just gives up, though, and this goes to Taylor folding on the turn last hand. Right?
Yeah.
Jake is giving up a lot on turns, and Taylor's sort of reading the rhythm of the night pretty well.
Wow, that was
Gloria Estefan, you know?
reading the rhythm of the night.
No, Depeche Mode? Rhythm of the night? I think it's Depeche Mode. I don't know.
I would like to see what
To
it
the
looks
beat of
like.
the rhythm of the night.
I would like to see Taylor read the rhythm of the night.
I think everyone knows what I mean. Okay.
How could they not? I'm just trolling, man. Of course, it's very clear.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot.
Taylor gonna raise it up. It looks like.
Is that
with
a, is that a
5-4.
raise?
Yep.
It is. Yeah.
And he just gets
Jake
to
doesn't
win.
defend for essentially a min raise. I'm surprised.
It's a little surprising. 8-4 off is a pretty bad hand.
Still, it's so cheap, and you know you can knock him out. Just knock him out like Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Like that time Jake knocked out Mike Tyson.
He
Same
did
kind of
that?
a thing. Yeah. Knocked him out with his fashion sense.
I thought it would be with the sick drum solo.
Oh, that's possible too. Jake does play the drums. According to Grant Dennison, he plays them very well.
What does that say? What are you saying?
Oh no, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying I'm giving you credit for.
Yeah.
We actually did see Jake's band play one time, and Grant turned to me and said, "Jake is good."
Yeah.
He was talking about drumming,
Yeah.
not as a person. We were talking about him as a person, right?
No, we don't get into that.
No, we never say that about Jake.
All right,
This is
Taylor
a pretty good hand.
is definitely going to play this.
Expect to see a normal raise here. We do.
Raise 25.
And Jake's got a pretty good hand, too.
He moves in. That's completely reasonable.
And Taylor quickly folds.
Yeah.
No, the graphics
Yeah.
got it wrong, but
But we know.
we know Taylor has fewer chips than the graphics will say next hand.
He's going to have about 25,000 in front of him. So about 20 blinds, 21 blinds. Jake's going to have the rest.
No, it's okay. It's my fault. Say
It always feels good, you know, to have all the chips when your head's up. Feels nice.
Yeah, I thought he folded.
I think you're right. I think most people would agree with that.
Well,
Raise 25.
that's what I'm here to do, right? Make observations.
Yeah, that's part of it.
That's what they pay us for,
Yeah.
the observations. Did you ever notice?
Chip counts from 1 to
Airplane
Yeah,
food.
I was going to airplanes, yeah. I was going to do an airplane thing. I'm going to do a joke I've already made, which isn't my joke. It's a Jerry Seinfeld joke about black boxes and airplanes. Why isn't the plane made out of the old black box? Black box always survives a crash. You know?
Yeah. It's a great point.
Did I do a good Jerry Seinfeld impression? Because I was going for
It
that.
sounded more like Jeff Goldblum to me.
I lied.
That's a compliment.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I lied.
All right, so I don't mean to minimize this. These guys are playing for more money than has been won so far, basically. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like they've each between the two of them, one of them has locked up $2,000. I guess there's another $1,000 that's been paid out to Digital Dan. There's 3,100 total left. 3,000 in cash and 100 in the Nitrogen Sports Bet. So Like these guys really have to be locked in, and it can be easy when you get heads up. You feel like you've already done so much, but this is where the real money is made.
Right, and this is a sit and go, so it doesn't necessarily feel as much like you've done something as when you're at the end of a 200-player tournament and
True.
your heads up.
True. Taylor decides to limp this time.
And nobody flops anything except for backdoor stuff.
They both think they have showdown value.
And Jake would be right. Am I right?
Nice.
Taylor's going to bet. He doesn't think he has showdown value.
He bets less than the minimum.
Not allowed, but, Jake's going to call the queen high.
Wow.
That's reasonable.
Oh, of course it is. It's cool.
And now I don't think Taylor's going to be able to get it through with that card hitting the river.
No. It's going to just chop. Taylor sees that Jake called him with the queen high. Can't love that when you bet with jack high there. Kind of hoping to fold out a hand like queen high. If you're not folding out queen high, you're not loving your spot.
That's kind of the whole point of betting the jack high. Maybe it's just protection a little bit, too.
Yeah, protection a little bit. Also, you can get other jack highs to fold, which is
Yeah.
good. Of course, they
Yeah.
ended up chopping anyway.
On this show, we don't love the chop pot.
No, we're the opposite. That's
Yeah.
what makes us different.
Yeah.
Nobody loves a chop pot. Sing it.
I'm trying to think of the opposite melody to what
Oh,
these
that
guys do.
the opposite melody. Wow. Is that-
Nobody loves
Yeah,
the
that's-
chopped pot.
That's great.
Thanks.
It's really good.
I was classically trained at Juilliard.
You and Ella Fitzgerald, buddy. All right, here we go. Jake with
Ella
the Jake
was
7.
a mentor of mine.
Taylor 8-5 suited, and Taylor flops best.
He's got the pair, he's got the back doors, he's got it all.
Jake had raised pre, and he's going to continue.
3,000.
Taylor will not be folding, we know that.
No, he's got two back doors along with the pair. But if Jake has been giving up on the turn. I was going to say if Jake bets the turn, but
Well, Taylor now with a flush draw to go with his pair.
yeah. Expect this is a card Jake's going to give up on a lot.
Yeah, Taylor has a 4 a lot of the time.
Jake is usually going to check a 4. But Jake continues.
No, I'm saying Taylor has a 4 a lot of the time.
Oh, no, I'm agreeing with you.
Oh,
I'm
he-
saying, and Jake himself would check a 4 on the flop.
Yes.
A 4 on the flop, yeah.
Taylor calls again, as we'd
Wow.
expect.
I'm surprised Jake bet that turn.
Ooh!
What a card for
How
Jake.
is Jake the luckiest of all the luckies?
Wow, he has run quite
He just
well.
checks it back as he picks up showdown value. He's just hoping Taylor has exactly what he has.
Wow, there's almost nothing else he can beat there. Maybe 6-7. He can beat 6-7. No, they're gonna chop. Jake has almost all the chips now. Taylor's down to 16,000. Wow.
He wasn't going to chop 6-7.
Wasn't there? There was a big card on the board, wasn't
10.
there? Oh, was it 10? Oh, Jake was gonna win 6-7 anyway. You are correct.
Blinds have gone up here, it looks like.
We're at 8-16.
I think so, unless I just didn't see that properly.
Well, if you're right, that means we are. Yeah, 8-16. That means Taylor's down to 10 blinds, and he's just going to move it in. Jake calls quickly. This could be it, Grant.
This could be it. Taylor with the 8-5 of hearts for the second hand in a row, by the way.
Did not work out last time. Let's see if it's any better to him now. Not
wow,
looking
Jake,
good.
way in the lead.
Deuce
This
of hearts,
is for
4 hearts.
$3,100.
He's drawing dead. That's it. Jake's already won this one. It is over.
And Jake wins $5,000 plus a $100 sports bet from Nitrogen. Taylor wins $2,000. That was a fun heads-up match.
That was awesome. I can't wait to see the next one. We got another one coming to you guys next week. We will see you then.
New session.